So this is going to be a video showing how to launch a dedicated Quake3 Plus server from a VPS. This is a follow-up video to my last video I made about showing how to actually set up and configure a VPS for hosting dedicated game servers. So if you haven't watched that and you want to set up a server with a VPS but you don't have one and you don't know how to set one up, watch that video first. I'll link it in the description below. But if you do have a VPS set up and you're good to go, we can get started setting up our Quake3 Plus server. The first thing is, why use Quake3 Plus instead of vanilla Quake3? And that's because vanilla Quake3 uses very old, very dated netcode, and the higher your ping is, the more delayed your shots are. And it really is kind of crappy, especially by today's standards. However, Quake3 Plus uses modern netcode, so if you've played any modern first-person shooter with like normal, by today's standards netcode, you know how Quake3 Plus plays. It's much smoother, it's a much better experience. There is only one downside to Quake3 Plus, and that has to do with its default config, but that's a very easy change, and we'll change that when we get the server running. So the first thing we need to do is download Quake3 Plus. You go to the page and you click Download Now button. I'll link it in the description below, and that'll take you to its ModDB page where you can click Download and then get the zip file for it. The next thing you're going to need are Quake3's PK3 files. If you already own Quake3, you probably know what your you probably already know what the PK3 files are, and you know where to find them and how to get them. However, if you don't have Quake3 and you don't have the PK3 files, I will link in the description my Apache server where I have all my PK3 files and even my server config located. And that server config is free for anyone to take and use with their Quake3 server if they want to. And we'll get to that. I'll use that config when we're setting up the server later. And this is just my Apache server for all my auto download stuff from my Quake3 server, my Counter-Strike server, and my Quake1 server. So you're just gonna, if you don't have them yet, download all these pack.pk3 files, and if you want to, you can download my config as well to use with your server. So now that we have everything we need, we have to go ahead and start setting up our dedicated server. First thing we'll do is we'll log into our VPS using PuTTY. So let me get my VPS's IP, drop that into PuTTY, and I will log into the user I've made. Now, if you type in ls, that will show you all the things you can interact with within the directory. Right here it shows nothing, but it says I'm at Gibbons localhost. Gibbons localhost is, if you go into WinSCP, the same as /home/ whatever your username is. This right here inside of WinSCP is the same as being here in Gibbons at localhost, like the default. This is where it's going to default take you. So now that we're here, there's a few things we need to do. The first thing we need to do is install the IOQuake3 dedicated server. So we're going to type in sudo apt install IOQuake3 -server. Hit enter, it'll ask for your password, there we go. Dedicated server is installed. Simple as that. However, we need a way to launch our server. Now, a lot of times when you install dedicated servers for certain games, they will come with a .sh file, which lets you launch them. This doesn't do that. We're going to have to make our own .sh file. And even when we do make the .sh file, we have one more step after that. So we're going to have to type in nano, which is like the text editor, and we're going to type in # exclamation point /bin /bash, and then I hit enter twice to go down 2 slots. Now this is going to be a bit to type in, so I will put it in the description below and you can copy paste it, but I'm going to type it all out here manually. Okay, cool. I'm really bad at typing, so I just want to make sure I didn't mistype anything. Then we're going to hit Control X. It's going to ask if I want to save. Yes, and it's going to ask you what you want to name this file. You can name it anything you want as long as it has .sh at the end. So I'm just going to call mine launch.sh. Hit enter. So now if you type in ls, it'll show us that we have a launch.sh in our directory, which is great. However, it's grayed out, which means it's not something that you can execute. So in order to turn this file into an executable we can use, we're going to have to type in sudo chmod space plus lowercase x and then the name of your file. Mine is launch.sh. Hit enter. It says there were no errors, so I'll type in ls, and look at that. We now have a green launch.sh, which means it's an executable we can use. We're not ready to launch our server yet, though. Go into your WinSCP, and you'll see we have launch.sh in here now. we need the assets for the game to be able to launch, because we have a dedicated server, but we have no game assets. What are we going to launch with? So in order to put the assets into our VPS so that we can actually launch our game server and it'll have assets to launch, we need to add another directory. This directory is going to be called period Q3A. It is important that you call it period Q3A. If you do not call it that, you're going to run into problems. Call it period Q3A. Just like you have .cache, .local, here you want .q3a. Now, inside of your .q3a folder, this is where you're going to put your setup Quake3 Plus. So you're going to have your Quake3 Plus -e zip. You are going to want to extract this, and you're going to get Q3 Plus -e. Inside of this, you're going to have 2 Quake3 Plus executables, a Quake3 Plus folder, and that's it. You need to add a new folder to this. You need to add a folder called base Q3. Just like that, all lowercase, no spaces, base Q3. Once you have that added, you're going to go back into wherever your PK3s are, get packs 0 through pack 8, copy them, and you're going to put them into your base Q3 folder that you've just created, and you're going to put them in the Q3 Plus folder. Now that you have all the pack files in both your base Q3 and your Q3 Plus folder, you're going to need to move both of these folders into your .q3a folder in your VPS. This is going to take anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes, so I'll cut back in when they are both inside of the .q3a folder. So fast forward a bit, and now we have our Q3 Plus folder with all of our packs in it, and our base Q3 folder with all of our pack files in it, inside of our .q3a folder in our VPS. And from here, we should be set to launch our server. So go back to your PuTTY window, ls, we have a launch.sh in there. If we've done everything correctly, we'll type in .launch.sh. And if we've done everything correctly, this will launch our Quake3 server. Seems to have worked pretty well. But let's test it. Let's test our Quake3 server. What is the IP here? Here is our IP. Let's launch Quake3 and see if we can connect to our server. Anyway, let's try it. Connect, we'll put in our IP. Oh, I don't think I need the port, but we'll find out. And it looks like our server's running. Angel bot was kicked. Is this my server? I remember last time I set these up, I didn't have to turn off any bots. Let's find out. I think IOQ3 has had an update since, so there might be a few updates. And yeah, look here, Angel was kicked, given and received. Players entered the game, unknown player, that's me. We've done it. We have successfully entered our server. However, we're not done yet. We've got our server running, but our server is highly unconfigured. So, let's go back to our window here, and we'll hit Control-C. Control-C is just going to shut our server down. We need now to configure our server. This is where the downside of Quake3 Plus that I was talking about is. The default config for Quake3 Plus uses a Quake Live physics and balance setup. Remember earlier when I said my config is in with my PK3 files and we can use it? We're basically going to be using that, because my config uses vanilla Quake 3 balance and vanilla Quake 3 physics. So we're going to be doing that with our Quake 3 server. We're going to be turning our Quake 3 Plus server, which currently has Quake Live balance, into a Quake 3 server. So to do that, we are going to go back into our Q3A server and go into our Quake 3 Plus folder. First things first here, we are going to want to edit some things on our server.cfg, just to change them around. The server.cfg is where you're going to have basic options like your Archon password. You're going to want to make an Archon password, so you don't need to go into your PuTTY window every time you want to put a command into your server. If you have an Archon password, you can type in your Archon password and you can send commands to your server from your server. So we'll just make our Archon password something simple, like Gibbons. However, do not make your Archon password something other people are going to be able to figure out and know. Excuse me. Don't do that. Right now, our config is set to conf default.cfg. This looks correct, conf contrab.cfg. I would say change the DL rate to something closer to 25,000. Just for speeding up auto downloads and stuff. I don't really know if it actually does anything, but I make mine nice and high because I can. What else can we do here in our folder? We can do how long before people go inactive, they go to spectate, max ping allowed, the max clients that are allowed. There was something else in here. Here's the conf rotation. I could have sworn... for the call vote. So in Quake3 Plus, the call vote is going to be a bit different. I believe you're going to want to set this to conf callvote.txt like that, not conf callvote_tdm. You're going to want to set it to conf callvote.txt. There is one more thing we need to do in here, though, and that is set up your auto download. While we're here, let's just do this. We already have the Apache server set up, so this will be super easy. SV allow download 1, where is it? It should be svdlulr. Here it is. svdlulr, or URL. What you're going to type in here is http:// and then you're going to put, unknown player. Then you're going to put in your server's IP. Alright, so I've got my IP. Now I'm going to put it in here. Control V, just like that. That is the IP for my server. http, save, http:// the IP of your server. One more thing. Where are the bots? Alright. I'm going to turn bots off in my server just because bots suck ass. Let me see. Bot enable 0. I think that's... Do I want that? Yeah, bot enable 0. Fuck bots. Don't you hate it when you join a Quake3 server and it's full of bots? Get them out of here. I don't want fake player counts, alright? There's nothing more... Like, you see a server with 0 players, you go, there's 0 players on that server. You see a server with 4 players, you join, think you're about to have fun, it's full of bots, they all leave. That's more disappointing than just seeing a player with 0 servers. Get it out of here. Anyway. Oh my god, Gibbons, I'm so distraught. I'm panicking. I'm in distress. What am I gonna do? My server's Quake Live balance, and everyone's making fun of me because I said I was gonna play Quake 3. Have no fear. Alright. Here in my downloads folder, I have not already downloaded my own config. Alright. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna hit Control A. You're gonna hit Control C. You're gonna open up a notepad folder. New text document. Alright. You're gonna call it my.cfg. It's because it's config file, so you gotta end with CFG. You're gonna open up my.cfg. Control V, Control Save, bam. Now, you're gonna open back up this right here, and in your conf folder, here where it says conf, I guess you could have just copy and pasted over one of these. You're gonna drop in the my.cfg, just like that. Now let's launch our server again. Let's try launching our server again. Launch.sh, connect. We will connect to our server again. Now with our new and improved Archon password. So here we are. We're back in our server. No bots in our server this time. Fantastic. But I want to use the Archon. So you're going to type in -Archon password, then type in your Archon password. Mine was Gibbons. And now if you want to do something like change the map, you've entered your Archon password. So you can freely do things like Archon map Q3DM3. Fantastic. Our Archon works. Our Archon password works. So now we can type in things like Archon SV config. What's the config of our server? Ooh, default. I don't like that. I'm going to do Archon SV _ conf / my.cfg. Wait. Config. Conf / my.cfg. It will be changed upon restarting. So let's do Archon map Q3 DM2. And now, if we type in something like archon sv physics, we will see that it is 0, which is the default it should be for Quake 3 physics. Quake 3 should have SV physics set to 0. So you now currently have your own server up and running. But wait, Gibbons, you said you were going to tell me about how auto download works. I haven't seen any auto downloading going on, and I'm feeling betrayed. Don't worry about this. So, you've got your server running, but you want to run custom maps. You don't want to be like all those other servers that insist on playing only vanilla maps and then removing doors because doors are uncompetitive. So, what you're going to go to here is go to your var www.html for your Apache server, and you're going to do a new directory, and you're going to call this directory base q3, just like the one inside your .q3a folder, all right? Now let's go find a map that I don't have in this Quake 3 Plus folder. Let's see base q3. What do I have? What do I have? Let's find... Oh my god. I've got like so many different versions of this game. All right, we'll just do we'll do gold leaf. All right, we'll do gold leaf. So we're gonna take base q3. We're gonna put the custom map we want inside of our var www.html base q3 folder. But we're not done. See, we have to go back to home, Gibbons, Q3A, and go to our base Q3 folder and put the map file in our base Q3 folder as well. By putting it in our base Q3 folder, this is telling our server this is a map you have access to. By putting the map in the var www.html file, that is an auto-download web server that says if you want to use these things, you can get them from here. All right, it's editing Gibbons here. I forgot to mention when setting up your auto-download, you need to set up an auto-download for your server's mod files as well for the Quake 3 Plus server, not just one for the map files. So while we're here, you're going to do that as well. Go back to var www.html, and where you have your base Q3 folder, you're going to want to make a new folder or a new directory, and you're going to want to call that Q3 Plus, just like your Quake 3 Plus directory. And then you're going to go into your Quake 3 Plus folder, and where you see ZZQ3 Plus VE, SV patch _4, and Q3 Plus HQ, all three of those are going to need to be copied into this Q3 Plus folder. If someone is already using Q3 Plus and they join your server, they'll have no problems. But if someone is not using Q3 Plus and they join your Q3 Plus server, if you don't have these files in here, they won't be able to download your mod and they won't be able to get into your server. So just remember, when setting up your auto download, set up a base Q3 folder and then also set up a Q3 Plus folder, and make sure you put the maps in the base Q3 folder, and make sure you put your mod files, the ZZ Q3 Plus, SV patch, and Q3 Plus HQ inside of the Q3 Plus folder. And it'll look like this in the end. So you should have a auto download at var www.html that looks like this, base Q3 and Q3 Plus. So we'll restart our server now, and we will rejoin on our server. Let's rejoin on my server, my really nice server. I'll put the Archon password in again. And then we'll connect to my server. Excellent. But, you know, I don't really like this map. I want to do Gold Leaf. So I'm going to swap to Gold Leaf. This config, this setup, this Quake 3 that I've launched doesn't have a Gold Leaf in its base Q3 folder. So if your auto download is set up properly, if your Apache server is running properly, as it should be, and if you entered the IP with the HTTPS blah 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 properly in the server config, when you do this to change maps, people should be able to auto download your maps, assuming they have allow download 1 on. Let me see what my auto download. CL allow download is set to 1. Perfect. Archon map, Gold Leaf. That's a great map. Let's go to Gold Leaf. And as you can see, I don't have it, but I am downloading it. Perfect. Everything working as it should. Yeah, it'll take me a few seconds, sure. 10 seconds. Oof. It's a lot of seconds I gotta wait. And then here we are, custom map. Beautiful. Everything works perfectly. You now have a perfectly working Quake 3 server. You can put custom maps in it. You know how to run a custom config in it. And editing one of those custom configs is as easy as going to your config, hitting edit, and editing any of these values you want. You want your railgun to do more than 100 damage? Edit your config. You want freeze tag to have more crush thaw time? Edit your config. There is something, you can change this game into whatever you want. However, this config that I share with you here at my on my Apache server for my servers, you are free to download this, and this config is a vanilla Quake 3 config. This, if you just want to play vanilla Quake 3 with some friends. Vanilla Quake 3 physics, vanilla Quake 3 weapon balance, and none of the quality of life stuff, like smooth stairs turned on, the way God intended, because original Quake 3 doesn't have those things. That's all here in this config. So the only downside of Quake 3 Plus is that it starts with a Quake Live config, and you have a config right here that will turn it to Quake 3. That's all there is to it. You've now got a Quake 3 server. Anyone can join it. Share your IP with your friends. Have them join in. Call vote should be working. I don't want to do this map. Dash, call vote map. I want to go back to the first map, Q3DM1. Ah, look at that. I've called a vote for map Q3DM1, and it passed. Thank God it passed. You want to know why that passed? Because back on our server config, all the way back here, we changed this file down here to say conf_callvote.txt, not conf_callvote_team.txt. So every little step I do, even if I meander a bit, every step I do, it's important you follow those steps, all right? And then when you get comfortable with this, you can fuck with your server all you want. There is one more thing you should learn, though. And I know, every time it seems like this shitty tutorial's over, I say there's one more thing you gotta learn. And you go, oh my God, Gibbons, what do I gotta learn now? What do I gotta learn? I'm a master at running a Quake server. My Quake server's running, me and my friends are playing, we're godlike, we joined your Discord, we looked at your setup the channel, and we saw all the different things that we can edit to improve our quality of life. We're so good at this game now. What could we possibly have to learn? And what you have to learn is how to keep your server up when your SSH window closes. What are you supposed to do about that? You can't just run the SSH window forever. What is the point of having this VPS if every time you close it, your server goes down? There is a way to get around this, and it is called running a screen. So the command for running a screen is going to be screen dash capital S, and then you're going to put in the name of your screen. I'll make my screen Quake 1. And there we go. I type in ls, and I have a launch.sh. .-launch.sh. Ah, brilliant. And now my server's running in my screen. Even if I decide to close down this window, my Quake server will still be up. Let's connect to my server. Wonderful. My server works perfectly. What if I told you, though, with the power of screens, you could run more than one server at any given point in time? That's right. If you want to run a second server for Quake, all you got to do is start up another screen. Screen-S. I'll call this one Quake 2. And then I think I'll just do launch.sh and launch another server. But Gibbons, I only have one IP. How am I going to host two Quake servers? Well, you see how when I connect right here, I've got a port at the end, 27960. If you change that to 27961, you will be able to jump into your second Quake server that you've just hosted with your screen. Just like that. And now I have two Quake servers running at the same time on the same VPS. And because it's Quake 3, it costs like no resources to run because it's a game from like 1999. It's beautiful. Oh, chef's kiss. Perfect. And there you go. Now you know how to run a Quake 3 server and how to keep it up, how to set up a good config, how to have good netcode. You know how to run a good-ass Quake 3 server now. A damn good-ass Quake 3 server. Well, you gotta, like, you know, go into your, what's it called? You're gonna have to go into your, what's it called? Your server config here. you're probably going to want to edit your default config to be like the my.cfg, whatever CFG you change it to, so that when you launch your server, it will launch the config you want it to. But now you got a good ass fucking server, basically, is what I'm trying to say. You have a great Quake 3 server. And that's pretty much the tutorial. I know it went on for a while towards the end, because as the night's been going on, I've been drinking more, so I'm getting more intoxicated and getting more into my tutorial mode. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching, and I really hope that more people see this and go and start their own servers. I get a lot of comments in a lot of my videos. Okay, not my videos, in like PMs in Discord. People will be like, oh, I'd love to play, but I'm in the US. Because all my servers are in Europe. So of all the events I've hosted for Quake, all the different game modes, different event type stuff I've posted it in the Quake Discord and all that stuff. I always get people PMing me or responding to my messages in the Quake Discord saying things like, oh, I would join, but I'm in the US. So I really hope that maybe more people, like, it makes me feel like if I lived in the fucking US, the amount of people who had said, oh, I would totally join, but I'm in the US, I could be playing Capture the Flag with people right now. Probably not, because a lot of people say they'll play and they won't. They just like to say that. But from what I've heard from some of my friends in the US, unfortunately, the Quake 3 community there is not in great shape. There's only like one real main set of servers that people know of and playing, and apparently the players there are kind of toxic, and you can get banned just for playing better than people who are friends of the admin. It's also really unfortunate that the Quake community in general seems to be very closed-minded. Like, even here in Europe, there's the Quake 3 MSK guys who are very cool, but they're not the biggest servers here. The biggest servers here actually, like the players there, they don't really want to play anything other than the game modes in their servers. If you tell them, maybe you should play in another server. No, they'll never play in another server. Maybe you should play a different game mode. No, I'll never play another game mode. And you go, well, I think I'll start a server that plays in that game mode then, because I like that server. They will instantly start harassing you, harassing the players in your Discord, harassing new players who join your Discord, harassing people who watch your events, harassing people who join your events, and entering your events just so they can drop out at the last second before it starts to try to fuck over your event. They will do that just because they don't like the fact that you are running a server for a game type that they don't even play, that they wouldn't even give a shit about anyway. Just because it's not their server. Like, and that's just the state of the Quake 3 community. And when you ask them why they do this, they will claim it's because you're fragmenting the community. I don't know what world they live in where by giving people more options and more servers to play in and trying to widen the spectrum of like game types available and get more people into this game, try to get more people into this game that you think that they would love for like, it's a game from 1999. You'd think people playing it are people who are in love with it, but they're not. They're just really bitter. And I really hope that this video can inspire at least one person to set up their own Quake server and maybe try to get some friends and maybe do something with it. Because what the Quake community needs, despite what people in the Quake community who will be instantly hostile to you if you try to say anything otherwise will tell you, what this game needs is naturally more players, but more enthusiastic players who are willing to just play Quake. Not one specific game type of Quake, not Quake the way it's meant to be played, not Quake the way they want to play Quake the best way. We just need people who want to play Quake. And we need people to set up servers that aren't fucking dog shit and full of dog shit people. There's a lot of really cool people who play Quake. Off the top of my head, I can think of my buddy here in Europe, Semisec. Semisec doesn't give a fuck. He'll play anything. Unfree servers, I'm in. MSK, I'm in. Dual tourney, sure, I'll enter that. Capture the flag, I'm down. Freeze tag, great. Semisec is a fantastic dude, and he'll play anything, and he's a super nice guy, but not everyone is like Semisec. Very, very few people are like him. In fact, most people are like anti-semi-sex. They're bizarro semi-sex, and they will go around and they will harass people because they play a version of Quake that's different from the one they like. And it fucking sucks. It fucking sucks to see this game that I love, this game that's fantastic, this mountain of gold, just be lorded over by these fucking miserable assholes who make no one else want to play it. It makes me upset. It makes me upset that such a fantastic game just doesn't have people playing it. So I hope that through this long tutorial that's taken way too long, that most people probably are going to give up on because it's so long, I hope I can inspire at least one person to make their own Quake server and give this shit a try. Because it really is a lot of fun, and what this community really needs, despite what the Quake players will tell you, who are all bitter, is enthusiastic people who just want to play some Quake, who will set their own servers up and play some goddamn Quake regardless of what anyone says. That's what this fucking community needs. Funny enough, the Quake community needs people who actually play Quake. Because there's a lot of people who sit around and talk shit and are bitter and upset and stupid, and they only play with these groups of people, and they refuse to play with others, and I haven't seen those people fucking step foot in Quake servers. Like, I've never seen them fucking play. Steiga comes back. Steiga, the OG, the man himself. He's gonna host some Quake 3 events. The first one he hosts, it's a masterpiece. Everyone joins it. It's an insta-gib, and we get like 8v8, and it's a ton of fun. Steiga says 2 weeks from now, I'm doing a freeze tag as well, everybody. I hope you show up. It's a 3v3. And I'm one of the people playing in it. Because Quake players don't fucking play Quake. This community needs people who play fucking Quake. Set up your own Quake server. We need you. Set up your Quake server, get some friends, and play some fucking Quake. Change the config to whatever wacky settings you want. Download whatever wacky maps you want. Play whatever game type you want and give it whatever dumb fucking rules you want. Quake isn't so shallow that there's a right way to play it. That just by changing a few minor details, it's no longer Quake 3. Quake is so much more than that. Quake is the sum of everything you can make with it, everything you can do with it. It's this giant creative tool, this sandbox. And it's amazing. And the Quake community has decided that there's only one way to play it, and if you don't do that, they are literally going to harass the people who play in your servers. Because you're trying to fragment the community for not playing the way they said it's supposed to be played. Set up a fucking Quake server, play some Quake, have some damn fun, get some people to play it with you, stream some matches. Just play some fucking Quake. It's fun, and I love it, and I wish people cared about it as much as I did. Or as much as I do. You know what this game needs? This game needs a fucking VTuber to play it. Because everyone fucking loves VTubers. You think if some random VTuber sat down and set up a Quake server and played, you think they wouldn't get an overflow of people trying to join? Someone hooked me up with a fucking VTuber here in Europe. A popular VTuber. Alright, who wants to play some Quake 3? Set me up with them. I'll set them up a server. I'll do it all for them. I'll run that shit. They bring the players, I bring the server. Alright? We play some 8v8 one flag CTF. Maybe some 8v8 normal CTF. Who knows? There's a lot of game modes. There's a lot you can do with it. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, I'm drunk as shit and I'm rambling. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you play some Quake and have some fun with it. In your own servers. Servers you can call your own.